It has been a wild 2 weeks for this ball club, Sean.
Very much so.
Yeah, I mean, they were 2-8 in a 10-game stretch coming into the middle part of the week, and the last 3 games, they've been terrific. And so many of the players, pregame, after games, talk about an urgency, that it's August, that this series matters, that it's go time. And even Kevin Gausman afterwards said there were times in the season we didn't have the urgency that we needed.
You know, Rash, it's not as though they just pushed a button. As much as you can say urgency, like, you don't want to take that pressure into a games like all of a sudden we really have to do this. That's not the way you play baseball. What you've really seen change over the last 3 games is process, particularly at the plate, particularly in approach. You look at some of the discipline, you look at some of the patience, you look at the way that they're grinding out the opposing pitchers. And even when they're not scoring runs or building a rally, there's a pressure that didn't exist while they were in that slide. And if they can maintain that type of process at the plate for the rest of the season, that will allow them to really leverage the power and the ability that this lineup has. And that's when they can get on a really sustained run.
When the team was cold, so was Teoscar Hernandez. On Thursday night, add-on runs came with an extra base hit. On Friday night, he had the 2-run home run. And that was the word Teoscar used, patience. Patience is key to him seeing the ball well. And Kevin Gausman, he didn't allow anything from Yankee hitters. But afterwards, he said, I wasn't really feeling my best. Yet, through 7 shutout innings, his body's a little banged up. It's August. But if that's not being in a groove, whew.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And look, I think you can take a look at that first pitch of the game. It was a 91-mile-an-hour fastball to D.G. LeMahieu, who he sent it 404 feet to center field, where Whit Merrifield chased it down. That ball had a 35% catch probability. A terrific play by Merrifield, and that really helped set Gausman on his way. You get that good defensive play, builds a little bit of confidence. By the second inning, he was locked in. He strikes out the side, and he really rolled from that point forward. And he had the fastball going. He had the splitter, 8 swings and misses on that split in this game alone. A really effective pitch for him. And you compare it to last weekend against Cleveland, where he got bled to death by the Guardians. This time around, none of that. He had the Yankees under his thumb start to finish.
And a milestone night here in New York. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. already at 500 hits for his young career. The youngest ever in Blue Jays history to reach that milestone at such a young age.
Ken Rosenthal, let's take a closer look at the races in the postseason chase in Major League Baseball. 6 teams seriously in the mix for 3 wildcard spots in the American League. The Jays, they're going to play the Orioles 10 more times and the Rays 9 more times. In your eyes, which of those 3 teams make it to the postseason? Who is the team that'll likely miss out?
Faisal, you're talking to a guy who wrote that the Phillies would not get any better if they fired Joe Girardi. So if you're asking me for predictions, you're probably talking to the wrong person. But you did ask the question. I'm not going to go against the Blue Jays here. They have too much talent. The Mariners have certainly proven worthy, and the Rays historically are simply that kind of team that you expect to make it. Then the AL Central teams, I don't expect the second and third place teams to be in the wild card mix. I still think that the teams in the East are stronger. And who knows, maybe the Orioles slip in somehow, though it's difficult to imagine. Really, it's a free-for-all. And it goes without saying that whoever plays the best is going to get in, but the Blue Jays' talent should be enough to get them in.
Just appease the entire nation, Ken. Thank you for that. Listen, you mentioned the Central. It is the tightest division in all of baseball. The Guardians currently with the best odds to come out of it. How do you think that division plays itself out?
Faisal, the way it should play out is with the White Sox winning it, because the White Sox have clearly the most talent. Now, my favorite team in the division is the Guardians. Just the way they play, the contact-oriented style, good starting pitching, great back-end relief pitching as well. I just don't know if they have enough. And then there are the Twins, who also seem just a little bit short, even after making the most moves of any of these teams at the deadline. They were the only ones who seemed to even try. But now Tyler Mahle is a question physically. So I just see the White Sox, if they ever get it together, and we've been saying this all season, but they still have time to do this. I don't know. I'd like to see the Guardians pull it off simply because they're an underdog and they're a young team, scrappy, but the White Sox talent ultimately should prevail.
We saw the talent of the Yankees through the first part of this season just blow teams away. They have, as predicted, come back down to earth a little bit with the rough patch as of late. The Dodgers, we know, keep on rolling. They're the best team in baseball. The Mets get Jake DeGrom back there atop the NL East. Justin Verlander, the Astros, amongst the favorites as well. Who's your best bet to make the World Series and clash in October?
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
I should have a better idea.
Here.
I should have a better idea now than I did at the start of the season, right? We have the deadline. We have a reasonable picture of health. If I had to go right now and make a selection, I would definitely pick the Astros in the American League. They've got a 6-man rotation that is outstanding. They've got the best bullpen in the American League and a terrific lineup with Alex Bregman resurgent in the month of August. The National League is more difficult because the Mets, if DeGrom and Scherzer are healthy, are a team potent enough to win that league. Now, the Braves are an excellent club as well. And the Dodgers cannot be ruled out, though, without Buehler and even without Kershaw right now. He's coming back. They are more questionable than you would like to see them. Now, I don't know that they're going to win the World Series with Tyler Anderson, Tony Gonsolin, and Julio Urias as their top three. Actually, Urias top of that group. So we'll see. It's going to be really interesting to play out. The National League, to me, is more fascinating. I still believe the Yankees will come back and be a team possibly in the American League Championship Series. But right now, the Astros look like much the best.
Setting up to be a fun end of the regular season and certainly a fun postseason. Ken, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks, Hazel.